set thee away. And there we go. Hello everybody, it's Slaan here. We're taking a little sidestep from the city building series. I've basically got no new content left to show, and I thought I'll just do a couple of hours of just chilling out, chatting, basically catching up, expanding on some of the ideas that were talked about, making a few prefabs. But there's no specific plan. I've got quite a few things to do. But as we're not going to further the series on, we're just going to expand out. We'll just keep this one off to the side. But I think I want to make another connector down into the sewer from the Town City block that I showed off. So it'll just give you a bit of a chance to catch up on how I'm kind of doing things behind the scenes as well. I mean, I'm not going to stream absolutely every fucking step of the way, but it helps to get a lot more of these pieces finished off. Oh no, I saved this and we never actually done anything with it. So, let's make a new prefab. I think the little skinny street runs north and south, so we'll get that in first. Weigh 9 meters. That's the one. So I'm going to have to be careful here because I don't want to save these prefabs that I'm adding in. So I can't really save anything initially. Otherwise, I'm going to have to manually delete all this stuff off and city block. That's the one. This will be one, I believe. Is it on the right side? No, it's not. Right, let's just delete this one then, and we'll put a street down the other side instead. So basically the prefab I want to make now is going to be the crater for this little ruin, which will connect up to one of the sewer connections that we've been looking at in the other streams. So I'm just going to stick a street in for reference here. The finished ones, but I believe this is an east-west. Yeah. It just saves us having to rotate anything if I just put something in that actually faces the right way. Naturally, it spawns fucking glitched. But it doesn't matter. The only reason that's there is just so that we can see this bit. That's the only part we want, really. Just so that this lines up nicely. And it wasn't a bad guesstimation, to be honest. Might make this deliberately a bit smaller. Right, so the first things first is, because we've got this connector, we're just going to assume that there was a tunnel running down, but we're going to have it collapsed on this side. But we're still going to want a piece of tunnel that kind of initially points in. In fact, we might want to just join a piece of tunnel up and then actually break into that. So what's going to be the best way to do this then? It's a bit overkill to put a full section in just to snip a bit off. There he is. They're a bit shit. I don't really want. Ideally, I'm going to need to use this one. I'll tell you what, let's just get this down and then we'll. It shouldn't matter if it rotates. Actually, it's going to want to be all the way over here, isn't it? Needs 5 blocks. 2, 3, 4, 5. It's good. Right, so now if I hide the bounds so we can actually see what we're working with. Did I fix this? Actually, this will make quite an interesting little prefab, I suppose. I'm actually wondering now, do we incorporate this part and still leave these open? No, let's stick with the original plan for now. I've got some terrain for that. So all I'm going to do, because I'm just going to copy and paste this entire piece out. Then I'll take a square out as well, which we'll also incorporate into the prefab, and it means we can cut out this entire section from the city block itself to stop these bits overlapping and doing other funky stuff. But I want to know like how much space I've got here to take. Do you? There. Just to make sure that we're catching enough. Interesting. Gonna have to take. We might actually have to split this into 2 prefabs like I've done the other one. Tell you what. Because if I want this to join up, I need to incorporate this prefab up to this coloured part so that it seamlessly fits against the sewer. However, if I take this build above ground, then I'm either going to have to add this chunk of the pavement to the prefab, or build a lid like I showed you with the other connector that would just fit in here, which we don't want to be adding set pieces like that, because you've got to imagine if I build a prefab with this connector underground, assuming we build a lid, which I'm probably going to do, in theory we can put this prefab anyway and just, if we have to, run a bit of tunnel to the connector instead. So it doesn't necessarily have to be against this. Whereas if we make it one big prefab and incorporate the paths in the wall and stuff like that, it's only ever really going to work when it's placed down in this city block in this spot. So I think it's would do ourselves more favours being a bit more flexible. So with that in mind, really don't like the idea of cutting this tunnel in half. It means we're going to have to totally kill. Yeah, we're going to have to seal this off. Because I'm going to have to copy to about there. Right. Fly mode off. Don't be shy as well if you are watching live. Just feel free to say hello. So this is essentially what I've got to work with, and we know that this bit has to be terrain. Come on. Now we've probably got a few layers to take off there. So initially I'm just gonna get the old machine gun out. And the thing is, we don't just want to like, I've done the street with a rocket launcher and instantly regretted it, because although you get a bit more of a realistic splash and things collapse and pile up and stuff like that, you also damage fucking a whole bunch of blocks that you don't really want to. Whereas I think part of what's going to make prefabs like this look better is keeping and integrating like features of the system itself. So things are still going to line up, look okay. Potentially you might think, oh, I've been here before, but then it turns out actually you haven't. But we've got to take this all the way down to ground level. I mean, we might just have the rubble and debris spilling out of the tunnel. But if we do that, I might make this just the bottom tunnel totally collapsed, sealed off, so that initially for the first prefab we don't have to worry about extending it out or connecting it and making it line up with anything. And we'll do that with the sides as well. But then we'll just collapse it. So if you're coming from the sewer and looking down there, we'll make it look like it's caved in. But on this side, it's still going to look, you know, like the tunnel itself. This is going to take ages. So let's... Because it's not going to be too bad, I don't think, bringing the air. Wait, we've already got a bit of a ramp. Suppose we could maybe just collapse this stuff off here. Seal this tunnel up. And actually incorporate this part of the prefab as the climb down. In fact, we can do that on both sides. Right, so let's get the easy bits out of the way. I think we might smash this up as well. But that area is still pretty solid. So let's start getting rid of all this stupid decoration that we're not going to see and we're not going to need. Like all this stuff here. It is not needed at all. And do we want a little dig here? No, let's just keep it simple. Let's say we're going to keep certain features like pipes and stuff. I might even just keep things like that light. But everything else can pretty much go. So we have to be a bit more delicate with what we just destroy here. We don't want to take too much. But we do want this entire area filled out. You want destroyed stuff. Oh, for God's sake. Just wiggle this along a bit. So again, this we want to blend in a little bit. It's going to be easier just to get rid of some of. Still going to have to. Now we want to be able to get back out, I suppose, as well, because one thing I haven't focused enough on initially has been we've got ways in, but if you watch the last videos, you can't actually climb back out of some of the ways in at the minute. Now, it doesn't have to be a perfect obstacle course at the minute. We can neat things up, but we just want to get a good feel about where the spillage is going to be, how we're going to like blend it all in. Because for the most part, oh shit, I'm going to have to take that off. We'll decorate that with some destroyed concrete. A few crates or something there, pop on. But initially, what did I call the other one? Custom sewer access, wasn't it? Yeah. I don't think they categorized either. So custom sewer access 2. Oh god, I didn't put the space in. I fucking hate that. No, you can't win them all. Properties. Right then, so what we need now, well, first of all is to delete that. Yeah, we'll have to do some kind of spillage or something coming out into these tunnels. But before we go too crazy knitting things off, because we've got the general idea, we're going to come down through one of the two ramps on the sides, or we're going to drop down into the lower tunnel. More importantly, we're going to climb out from this area. But before I go too far with the top decoration and putting like the damaged concrete pieces in and trying to make it look a bit nicer, we'll get it loaded up underneath the actual city block. And then we can make the lids separately, or because it will work initially, it'll not look too bad. So how we're going to do this one then? Because ideally I want that city block loaded here. We're going to have to put another street down. Reckon it's about half, isn't it? Oh, and gave her a full prefab as well. Shit. Nope, it's not quite half. It's not far off though. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4. Right. Yes. Yeah, that lines up. Because to put the city block down, I need something to line it up. And that's what that street's there for. So again, if you're just calling in and out, don't forget to smash that like button. That's the one. These things are fucking massive, aren't they? Oh, what? So I'll just fly over here before I place it, just to hopefully make sure that the bit that I want to be able to see does spawn. So the thing to remember is we're still working in this little prefab here. So until we press the save button, the city block and the street are still their separate things. But at least now we get to see. I think what I need to do is replace this top layer of concrete with rubble. Or at least some of it. to knock that back a little bit. So you can run up that. Well, maybe just put some broken concrete in here. Give you something to step off. Just for paint all that shit, yeah. Right then. I mean, for the most part, that's not too bad. Let's get rid of the street now, because we definitely don't need that no more. I get a bit wary about getting this far into building something without touching the save button. It's fucked anyway, that thing, so let's just delete you as well. So that's a much tidier looking. Let's save you. Hide those bounds again. And let's deal with these two. Yeah, that's looking okay. I think we'll just get that painted up a bit neater. Then we'll just try and keep the texture sort of aligned a bit. Side of that. But yeah, I mean, generally speaking, I'm fairly happy with that kind of. Over here again. But yeah, of course you can. Oh, let's get rid of that horrible shit on. Where was that bloody selection box? There you go, that's better. delete the. So yeah, it's definitely going to serve the purpose. We can leave the working stiffs box there. Because at the minute this is going to be a 1 per city block prefab anyway, so. Initially, I don't even think I'll bother with sleepers in a prefab like this, though the city block itself will have them, so it's not like it's just going to be a safe haven. But once we've got a bit more to play around with, we'll maybe get a survival game loaded up and spend a couple of weeks in the city game time. Coffee's clear cold as usual. Right then. So really what we need to do now is get that city block back on there. Get this placed underneath it. And then that should mean, because the lid for this prefab, the actual above ground piece, is mostly going to be little bits of just destroyed stone and to hide the concrete stuff, yeah. I'm just wondering, should I paint that concrete, because that top layer is effectively the top layer of the sewer itself. I don't really like using the reinforced concrete texture though. I think it's a bit. Fuck, I'll tell you what I am when I paint it. Oh god, and this is why I don't use the fucking paint roller. It's getting a bit dangerous now. One wrong splash and maybe it's not so much on them pieces, but so we're all painted. It's something not too bad actually. Be nice when it's all together and you're coming from a dark sewer and you'll see the light kind of just catching through. The light of salvation of, oh my fucking god, we made it out. And that isn't going to be made it out, got saved from the danger. It's just, oh my God, we actually found a way out. Oh, right, I'm absolutely dying for the loot. If you just bear with us for 5 minutes, and I will be right back. I'm back, guys. Apologise for keeping you waiting, if anybody's actually watching. Right. So we've pretty much got this finished now. Stick a few more. It's just in there. Where's this one? And so yeah, I've just had to take me first I'd live on coffee piss break. Yeah. Builders building together. The funny thing is I was just saying at the beginning of the stream, I'm kind of content wise, I'm not out of new ideas. I've got lots of things to do, but I don't want to move too far ahead into new systems and further in the building series, uh, getting too far and leaving a lot of work to catch up on. So I'm going to hopefully expand on my sewers. The stuff that I've already shown off, get all the missing holes that I was, like the bits that I was missing when it came to doing the stuff in the world editor. And then it means the next actual building series episode, I can maybe focus on a new part of the city build or a new system. But for the most part, I'm quite happy with that. So, save you again. I'm just thinking I'm going to have to make a new prefab now. Just trying to think of the best way to actually do this. Because I'm going to want that prefab that I've just made and the city block both in here for reference. And this is going to be a bastard. I'm also going to have to put a street in. Got to build a city just to be able to build a fucking prefab. Oh, it needs to be a big one, doesn't it, for east-west? And it was 4 blocks out last time, wasn't it? So we go 1, 2, 3, 4. No, it's still 4 blocks out. Too far. It's just the last thing I want to do at this stage is make something that does not fucking fit. Right, so city block is going to have to be spawned from over this way. Still miles off of that. But again, these don't have to place perfect. It's just we've got to get the spacing right. It's to sit just there. Right, okay. So now we're back in business. So we're going to keep this fairly straightforward. Because this is part of the thing that I like about systems like this is you just come running past here, but no idea that that's, you know, the little doorway to goodness. In as many different sort of ways to get into the sewers as possible is what I'm aiming for without getting a bit over the top. Hate placing this shit by hand. Because I think what I'm going to basically do is we'll take the lid prefab itself, we'll take it from the entire corners of the building, and we'll take everything up until maybe here, and then on the city block itself we'll just hollow this out just so that we know not to build anything there. Some of this. I don't know what we've got decoration wise for. So I'm kind of thinking that, you know, we should maybe have a piece. Could I take a piece of this wall, copy that, wait, that one. I was just wondering, like, is it feasible to take a piece like this and rotate it? Because ever since I made that collapsed skyscraper and built the sideways section of prefab, I think it's like, that might be another idea for some decorations. You know, showing where some of these missing pieces of building have actually landed instead of just having the brick piles. And like, for the time being, let's get rid of that shit. Some here, some here, some here. So we want basically paintbrush. On the inside as well. Hello, Oli. It's the cat coming in to watch us build. Right, so they're all bricks. That's concrete anyway. Bricks, bricks. Give us some of that. Not one of them. Come on, guys, it's entirely feasible that this fell off that building in the windows, didn't just disappear. Get rid of that. However, we also want as well. Is there anything underneath of particular note? Not just concrete. Oh god. Actually, we'll keep that on some areas. And we'll put some broken concrete shapes in there as well to keep it looking okay, but for the most part, I don't mind if we even let's get some of them, some of them. Plan face. And then I think, that's going to spoil the karma of what we take out. We'll have to take you away. I don't want to have to incorporate the upper floor into this prefab. I'd rather just keep it something solid, so if we do put it somewhere else, that's not going to be like floating shelves and other weird stuff. Thinking of chairs, do a little bit more rubber. Right, now we've got a substantial amount there now, so let's yeah, we're going to take the full thing, I think. So we want all of that. That's right, isn't it? So let's copy this out. And let's just hope this copies perfectly, otherwise we've just lost everything. Shall it be fine? And there you go. So at the minute, this is still, don't like these edges here. And it's not going to look too bad if we just take this jagged lip off. And then at least if we do put this, oh, for fuck's sake, I pressed the wrong button. Instead of deleting it, I just replaced it all with bloody, right, let's delete. But at least like this, we can put it elsewhere and not have to worry too much about it looking too bad. Will we leave the sleepers on this one? I'm thinking we will. That's a bit high. That said, it's kind of a set piece for the time being, but we could modify a version of this to be usable in multiple spots, I think. So access to lid. Yeah, I'll be 2 seconds. Save you there. I'll be back in 30 seconds, chaps. Make a little bacon and egg sandwich to keep the build going. It's just like what? So we've added properties. Let's save that again. I'll do the thumbnail now as well. Take that. So for the people who are just coming on now, we're kind of taking a little bit of a sidestep from the usual city building series to expand on some of the ideas that we've looked at. So at the minute I'm busy making the top half of a connector designed to get her into the sewer system. In fact, I think now if we reload this, Yeah, this bacon and egg sandwich smells absolutely amazing. Where did I see sewers, man? Oh, we've still got sleepers there as well. Right, I'm gonna mute the mic for 2 minutes while we load the world editor up, because we've basically got enough to put this all in now, and we'll see how it looks. Got the city block, we've got the... So we'll still technically need to trim the city block as well, but the prefab will overwrite anything anyway, so I'm not too fussed. And we'll just go back into the flat map that we were using. And then what the fucking hell have I loaded up? Which bloody map? Ah, God's sake, this is the project map with that, I basically fed the height map into nitrogen. And these are the hubs that it came up with. And it's done a pretty good job, actually. It's weird when you look at the way that it's used the canyons. It's still built around some of the paths and stuff that I've set. Like down here, for example. Be interesting to see how the biomes are still all fucked up, but yeah, there's a good job of working its way around. But anyway, this is not the map that we meant to load up, so yeah, I wanted the nitrogen flat map. Thought it took a little bit longer than the usual to load up. That's better. Right then. Now, which one of these did I place down first? It was this one. I'm trying to think of which is going to be the easiest one to drop in without having to rotate, but I need a one that's against the street as well. Ah, there we go. This one will do just nicely. So once you've built your city, I mean, this is kind of the choice that you're going to be left with. And how do you want to like match all these connectors up? And we'll have a lot of preset shapes that you'll be able to just load in to do the bulk of the work in one go. But if you wanted to use pieces to make your own custom system or build something that linked on, then that's what all these little color-coded shapes are. You'll only really see it in the sewer prefabs at the minute, but depending on what you're making. Right, I need this there. Problem is it's going to spawn into that. I don't want to ruin any of it. And it's going to be wider than that connector as well. That's one thing I didn't factor in. So let's go to the sewers. Access O2. Do you bring that out? I don't even think it's symmetrical either, is it? Let's just place it in. Oh, and it's rotated right for a change. Oh, it was almost. Fuck, is that placed perfect? No, it's out by one. Oh, well, that's not too bad. So we're going to slide that up there. And you'll see this is where things get a bit fucked up, because we'll be modifying, or seemingly modifying, the terrain here. Like, we've just made an invisible little channel there where there was prefab and now there's nothing, where previously there would have been terrain. But none of these edits into the world are actually saved, so it just becomes more of an annoyance to work around when you all of a sudden can't see. But if it gets too bad, or you find it hard to place things, then just reload the world. Now, thanks to precise engineering and measurements, we know that our access lid just needs put into there. And we also know that we didn't copy that layer in, so that should just be a straight perfect placement. Which it is. Lovely. So let's save that, exit there, and then just get straight back in. And it just means that the game will reload a clean world with all these prefabs placed, and they'll be nice. None of the terrain fuck-ups will be there. Get down and dirty, get on my feet, have a run through. See lots of people tuning in though, but no one's smashed that like button yet. Right. It doesn't look too bad. Lands in nicely. And if we go running down there, I like that it's bringing the grass and stuff through as well. That's good. Another hidden work and stiff screen. But there we go. That's us into the sewer system proper now. Can we get below and check out? Yeah, that tunnel. Not that way. Not that way. Ah, no, we can't. So that's interesting. So if you come all the way down here, I forgot actually that this is just capped off as a dead end. We'll have to put... I mean, I'm not too bothered really, but we'll have to at least paint the fucking wall so it blends in. But yeah, maybe this is just you come running down here expecting to get away from the zombies and you're just like, oh shit. But no, I mean, generally speaking, that's kind of mission success. We made 2 new prefabs, took an hour and a half. So that's me, a happy bunny. And I'll probably do a few sessions like this. I don't think I'll stream them all, but when I've got definite sort of things that I know I need to make, it's I'm not a big fan of just randomly running the stream and just doing random stuff. I think it's a lot better when I'm a bit more focused. People can like see us working towards something and then how I do it, as opposed to just trying to come up with things to show people. But yeah, I mean, the system as it stands now, other than like in the variety in city blocks, we're at the point where we just need to get these little connectors working. Once we've got all the yellow connectors for these sewers, I actually need to add the yellow connections to this street as well, the wide street. The only thing is, I'm not sure. It's going to be a bit of a bastard trying to blend the yellow tunnels into this wall, because I'm pretty sure the gap at the top eats into this path. So there may be a few continuity errors. Nothing that will not be able to fix though. But no, I'm kind of thinking if every filler city block that's designed to spawn like this, where they're going to be littered with a certain amount of buildings, I think at least one way in and way out of the sewer system, whether it's a drain in the middle with a ladder like we did have in the olden days, or whether it's a damaged section like this, or I mean, we've got to consider that actually, I think the waterwork prefab that the pimps make, in a combination of the ones that I used in the original Slaan hatton, I'll probably put together so that we've got an actual, like a dedicated building, a bit more of a dungeon explory, something that we can make look nice and pretty. That can also be a standalone prefab, but we'll build it with sort of outside facing color connections like these. So even if we're not going to include the full prefab, we might still include enough on the side so that one of these could be put next to it. Design a prefab that could be entered multiple ways, you know, where it's easier to come in through the sewer, or you've got to come in through the sewer. You can only get so far entering through the top. But the sooner I get all these daft little prefabs out of the way that just bring the systems together, the sooner we can start working on some new systems. You just have to decide as well, because I'm kind of torn, is the next leg of the city stage, do we incorporate a subway system, or do we work with the monorail system above ground? There's still highway to consider, how we're going to move the highway across the city and through the city. Are we even going to do that? We will at some point in at least one spot. But yeah, I'd be interested to know, out of all the things that you've seen us build, especially through all the older videos that I've got, like what's the things that you would like to see most? Because we've got the streets, we've got the city blocks. Excuse me, we've got the sewers. That's what I get for trying to eat a bacon sandwich and streaming. It's better. So yeah, we've got the sewer blocks, we've got the streets, we've got the cities, the city blocks, sorry. So it's kind of like, what is the next sort of step? Because these are just systems that are designed to work together. There's no set in stone layout. I think once you decide, you know, like this is going to be the main street and we're going to have X, Y, and Z here, and things become a little bit more permanent, that's when we'll get a bit more unique. Start really tidying things up, making things fit properly. But what I don't want is to get so far in and then have to stop. Okay, we need sewers now, let's build a full sewer system and try and incorporate it in. I want as many of these systems, or at least the ideas of the system, set down somewhere, so we can at least visualize some of the things that we might consider adding in the future, but we're not going to work on right away. Because the other thing as well is you don't know, when it comes to running a highway through the city, you don't know how much of this empty space is actually free empty space. You know, this is probably the perfect width to run a few supports over that's carrying a higher raised road. That's when it'll get really interesting, when we've got to come into the city block and go, right, okay, we want the highway running here. This city block needs to be modified to fit the highway. That's when we'll start just deleting buildings and doing some funky stuff. And then in between all of that, I want to actually still play a little bit of survival as well. So I think my next port of call, other than the second half of this bacon sandwich, really probably needs to be I want to measure up a corner section that we could place in that would connect like these two adjacent yellow pieces. and I also want a section that we could put in that was a single prefab that caps all three of these off at the same time, because we could potentially have a lot of streets running down, and we're going to need at some point a fast way to end all these tunnels gracefully that doesn't require you flying around 3 points of street on each side to drop prefabs in and rotate them, and does it fit, reload the world. I mean, it's well worth doing. You'll end up with a much more unique and custom map, but it is a time investment that we don't want to commit to until we're ready. But yeah, it looks a lot different. And I think back to when you used to do this in Alpha 12. So yeah, I really want to do those corner sections next, but it's probably going to take us a couple of hours. In fact, do you know what it is, guys? I think I'm just going to call it there. We've had a nice little build. We've done 2 new prefabs, and we've got this section working. You've even had a chance to see it working in there. Oh, that reminds us. Let's save our good work. Because things like this come in handy when it comes to extending the series, and I do the quick catch up, and then I can go, we made X, Y, and Z, and then quickly show them. But yeah, if you've got your own ideas for creative ways to join these systems up, this weekend I intend to release the first update of the prefab pack to bring you up to speed. So, build yourself a little flat world, set yourself some of these things down, and if you think you could make something like this, then give it a try, send it over. I think I need to use the forums a lot more. The prefab forum, while we do have some really good builders, it's not as active as what I thought it would have been. Just considering the building tools have done nothing but get better. Quest prefabs and all sorts of stuff. It's very slow going in terms of new content. But yeah, you could massively speed the process up if you've got in and done some of the dirty work as well. But no, I think initially, if you want anything submitted, or you've got some ideas, or you want to show us some screenshots, get on the Slaan Hatton thread. The link's in the description. Just post your feedback there. Even leave some comments on the video. What do you want to see next? I don't have a huge amount of subscribers, so like when the comments do come in, I tend to read every single one of them. And I hate to say it, guys, but you're being outnumbered by Russian dating fake accounts and Asian dating fake accounts by like about 10 to 1, so come on. Most of my YouTube admin is, just hide those from the channel, hide those from the channel. So yeah, we've got some connectors going on. We've now got Broken City roads as a means to get in, the demolished building that we made today, and then we've also got this this was the little maintenance building with the stairways down. So over time, once we've accrued another 4 or 5 ways to get in and out of the system, and we've got to consider like the open sewer system and things like that. That's definitely something I would consider doing again. And it would be so much easier to do as a couple of set piece city blocks. You could have more than one. We'll just try and make it less big and clunky and concrete the next time. But no, thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for the likes and the subs. It is nice to see the channel activity going up. My view time is absolutely insane compared to what it was 3 months ago. Even compared to like a year ago when I was still actually pushing out some videos, the view time is really, really good. So it's all appreciated, and I hope you are obviously enjoying the content. There's a lot more to come. A lot more to come. But like I say, the next update of the pack to bring all the prefabs, that you can get up to date with what I'm using, will be this weekend. I'll do that probably at some point on Saturday when I've got a bit of spare time. And until then, I'll try and cram as many of the new ideas in so that you've got pretty much the same tools that I've got to work with when we move on to expanding things out. So until the next time, thank you very much for watching, and I shall catch you all later on. And don't forget to like and subscribe.